So next segment is just a quick kind of a preview of a playlist that Zeno and I want to do. So first and foremost, Black Widow was finally postponed till next year. Remember, they kept postponing it. They postponed it one time, but later on this year, then they postponed it again. And I guess the Disney was finally like, you know what? There's no point in us waiting to postpone it even further. Let's just go ahead and make it a part of the summer blockbuster for next year. Also, I don't know if you agree with me, Zeno. I think the Mulan release experiment kind of gave them the idea. I think they were kind of entertaining the possibility of releasing it via Disney Premiere. They used Mulan as the as kind of the guinea pig for that, and then it probably just. But real quickly, I do think that the Mulan experiment kind of did help them decide. I think what they're going to end up doing is they're going to start making some movies or some things that are specifically for Disney Premiere that might have lesser of a budget, but they might be big enough movies where enough people would buy them on Disney Premiere. Maybe some MCU shows or like I guess mini movies.
Well, the shows would not be premiere.
No, the shows are not. But I'm saying like maybe some type of mini movies that they might think of like, oh, this is a great movie that we could release, but let's just release it first and get a little bit of money off of it versus it just being a straight Disney Plus project.
Well, I think you're right. I think there are some movies that will go to Disney Premiere. The MCU movies absolutely will not, just because of the investment that Disney has put into that.
Well, not only that, Disney Plus was launched with that idea too, of them being straight to Disney Plus. You pay for Disney Plus, you get these shows.
No, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the movies, like Black Widow and such. They're not gonna do that to them because they put so much investment in them, budget and all that stuff. You're talking about Mulan playing a factor in future decisions. I think one movie that really played a factor in the decision to postpone instead of trying to do it in like December or November, Tenet. That's the movie that Warner Brothers decided they were going to push through a release, and they'll do the ads. Oh, you got to see it in theaters. In the US and Canada, it grossed $41 million. That's a movie you can easily expect to gross $200 million in a normal summer. In US and Canada.
You could expect it to gain $41 million its first night.
Right, exactly.
In the US alone.
Not in its entire run so far. Okay. So I think that's I think Disney's like that. There's no way we can play around with this. We got to push it back.
So the postponement date is May 7th, 2021. So it's just basically going to be, and I didn't look into this, but I'm assuming that's also pushed the other MCU. Originally. What was originally going to be placed? What was going to happen in November, or this month?
This November? Maybe
that was the original release date for. It might have been. Let's see. I had it up here a second ago, but yeah, it was originally going to be the release date for another Disney movie. One of the I think you might be right. It might have been Doctor. No. It was I think that was the Shang-Chi in Legend of the Shang-Chi in the Legend of the Ten Rings was originally going to be. November. Oh no, actually, I'm sorry. That was the original. May 7th, 2021 is the original release for Shang-Chi.
So that's been
they moved back. They would push back. Yeah. Anyways, so of course, me and Zeno being huge Marvel Cinematic Universe nerds overall. I did call him a nerd earlier today. The truth is, for both of us, we're just both big nerds. So it makes sense that the first year that MCU does not release a movie, and I think it's been 8 years that they've released a movie
12,
every year.
2008.
12 years. They release a movie every year. Me and him had an idea that we launched our podcast. We were going to talk about these movies after they get released. Didn't happen. Won't be till May 7th, 2021. So one thing that me and Zeno want to do is we're going to do a playlist. So you know how we have the ZZ Feats playlist, and then we do a
playlist for each of our episodes. You guys should actually check out our playlist. You see episode 1. It has the title and stuff.
So we're going to do an MC. We haven't named it yet, but we're gonna do an MCU playlist. I was thinking Into the Nerdiverse, but it's kind of whack. So anyways, so we're gonna do something in regards to that. So we're gonna recap the movies. We're gonna talk about the movies up until the release of Black Widow.
Yeah.
We're just gonna talk of each movies, try to go in as much detail as we can.
Yeah, it's
And
an
actually,
MCU retrospective, if you will. Yeah.
pretty much, because it's impactful, right? Ever since MCU launched, a lot of studios have tried to replicate it. They tried to do it with that horrid Mummy movie that Tom Cruise was in, the remake for the Mummy, where it was supposed to do. I think it was what, the Dark Universe was it was supposed to
Yeah,
release,
that's what
and,
it's called, Dark
and
Universe.
then DC did it wrong because they concentrated on the Avenger part of it and not setting up the individual ones first.
I do like their pivot though. They've kind of pivoted into sort of making it a multiverse theory where they've kind of
Yeah,
given the director said, hey, you know what? Just make whatever movie you want. We'll make it fit. And now with the Flash movie, they're trying to tie it into being a multiverse type of thing because you have three different Batmen showing up in it. Michael
well, not
Keaton,
only that, but
um,
the actor from the movie showed up in the show.
the actor. Oh yeah, in the
Ezra
Arrowverse
Miller.
crossover.
Yeah, he showed up in the
So
Arrowverse crossover.
is that Andrew Miller? Is that his name?
Ezra.
Ezra
It's
Miller.
Ezra.
Okay, yeah, Ezra Miller. So yeah, so you're gonna have three different Batman show up. I think it's gonna be like a Flashpoint type storyline.
Yeah.
So DCEU has pivoted to make it more of a multiverse thing. So that's how you can have Jared Leto's Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker sort of coexist
Yeah.
because they're from different universes.
Well,
So
Jared Leto's Joker shouldn't exist. Period.
well, he
Sorry,
does.
throw.
So
Throw.
anyway, but back to your point, the MCU is the genesis of all these studios realizing that it can work to have a shared universe, and we want to explore that in our playlist that
Yeah.
is soon to be named.
And we might talk about certain other ones that certain other universes, right? The MCU kind of, I think it's the reason why the Fast and the Furious franchises get so much backing by Universal. Speaking of which, real quickly, quick caveat about, I just thought about that. Can we talk about previews real fast? How do you feel about, do you think that certain previews, they should definitely just make sure there's certain limitation to previews? Because remember Fast and the Furious, so now we have to wait, even though I don't know who's really actively waiting for the next Fast and Furious movie to come out since it was postponed to next year. That was the very first movie that they just said, we're not even going to bother trying to postpone it to this year. We're just going to straight up move it to the next. But we already know Hans comes back. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you kind of like, does that frustrate you about previews where like sometimes they release
Yeah,
the whole
well,
entire
it
plot?
depends on if it's a movie I like care about,
Care about?
or also it's also depends on if it's a movie where that sort of reveal matters.
Yeah.
I imagine that someone that either directed the movie or was really uh, integral to the making of that movie was involved in the editing of that trailer and gave it a pass, and they're like, yeah, it's good, you're not completely destroying the entire premise of my
Destroying it.
movie. But if someone didn't do that, then that's a big oversight on their part. I do want to say they really should focus group some of these trailers because you're right, a lot of them spoil like everything in a movie.
Yeah.
And that does kind of piss me off. I remember I watched season 1 of The Boys earlier this year, and no, late last year, sorry. And after I watched season 1 of The Boys, that's when I went and saw a trailer for The Boys for the very first time. That trailer is so spoilery. Oh my God. I was like, I'm so glad I did not watch this trailer before I saw the season. And same thing for season 2. I completely avoided season 2 trailers because I imagined they would have done the same thing of like spoiling a lot. So some people need to learn to keep the spoilers to like a minimum in these trailers.
Yeah, well, and then also just a real quick thing that I found out about Fast and Furious. I don't know if you've ever made the joke that you just like, I just know these guys are just they're gonna find a way to get their ass to space. Apparently, Michelle Rodriguez and Ludacris kind of spoiled that they do actually go to space in this movie. So that's something to look forward. Not in the previews. If you give a damn, do we care about Fast and the Furious anymore? It's like,
I
just let it
mean,
go.
it's a $1 billion per movie
I get it
franchise
makes
now,
money.
so
I get it makes money, but I think
someone
it's at the
cares.
expense of people's brain cells. But anyways, but hey, Fast Five is still like a badass movie, so I'd still watch that one.
6 is my
But anyways,
favorite.
but yeah, 6?
Mm-hmm.
6 is okay. I could
It's
do.
not.
I could
It's
do
not
6.
a plane. It's a planet.
so anyways, yeah. So that's just one thing that we want to kind of do. Just do a little playlist, go a little bit of introspective into it. We're figuring out how we want to do it. We're thinking most likely we're going to be doing release years, because the good thing is because if we did one movie per episode, that's freaking 23 episodes. So we're gonna do probably release years. Just we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The good thing is Marvel made sure to send 3 movies out every single year, so that's a good way for us to talk about them. But yeah, it's something fun that we want to do, and then we'll see how that plays out for us.
All right.
But yeah, glad we could end this episode on a fun note, because this episode has just been
A bit of a downer.
a bit of a downer. But
That's
hey,
why we
that's the
ended on
world that we live in.
entertainment.
That's the world we live in.
All right. That was episode 6. You want to sign us off?
Hey, thank you guys for giving us a chance, listening to us. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right. That's a wrap.